Okay, sir. Are you ready for the one and only tagline for this movie?
I am ready.
Okay. It's a doozy. When the going gets tough, the tough go flying. It doesn't even, it applies to the movie, but it does not apply to what the poster would be or how to sell this movie whatsoever. I mean, the name of the movie does not make you go, oh, there's going to be flying at all.
This is the worst movie of 1985.
That should have been the
maybe of the 80s. 85, it wins.
When the tough gets going, make this movie. Oh my God. Yeah, so that's the one and only tagline we got. But we do have some other things in this movie. We have 2 food fight scenes, 1 pie fight, 2 scenes of sexual harassment, 2 scenes with a flying dirt bike, multiple scenes with a anthropomorphic dirt bike that seems to have emotions, but we don't know exactly what it is.
An umpire from the Little League that is paid off by a banker.
Yep.
A police department that is also owned by the banking institution. For I don't know what reason.
More police codes than I've ever heard in one movie at one time.
A hot dog stand
that becomes a bank.
That is going to be torn down, but then saved, then torn down, then saved, then torn down again.
And 1 star from The Christmas Story. With no budget to report and no gross to report, but a 60% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes with over 1,300 people reviewing this movie. It also has a 5.5 on IMDb. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 1985's The Dirt Bike Kid. Let's drop some bombs.
What do you think of that? I think if you're going to kill someone, kill them. Don't stand there talking about it.
You're fine. I have a 73, 18, 14, 11. I'm going to form a 911 73. See if I can't do a 61492AB. I'm over.
The sucker was carrying a gizmo. I did you a favor, Trash.
Call me evil. Garbage day! Huh? No!
Welcome to Bonds Away, the only podcast recorded inside a projection booth. My name is Jonathan Young. Unfortunately, Jarrett is not with us today. He got the week off, that lucky bastard. So joining me in the studio today is
Jordan Hadfield.
Jordan Hadfield is my longtime best friend, longtime listener. I'm really excited to have him on the show today. Like, this has been something that we've kind of wanted to do for a long time. I mean, we've talked about actually possibly doing a show of our own many times, and it's just a really fortunate opportunity for us to even be on the same coast and to do this today. So blame him. This was his pick.
Yes, and I apologize to myself earlier.
I apologize to myself, my kids, everybody that had to sit through this, my wife.
I regret it all.
Which is really funny because
what a disaster of a movie.
Okay, so we actually we normally, me and Jarrett, watch a movie like separately, and then we'll come together and talk about it. Well, we kind of, only had a couple of hours to get together and be like, let's watch this at the same time, and so this became an entire family affair. And you could tell, like, your kids, what would you say their perspective of it was? Because this is a kid's movie.
It definitely is a kid's movie. I think that they are connoisseurs of YouTube Kids, of the iPad, and of Netflix and Amazon Video. So for them to see this, we did just watch a bunch. You always watch a bunch of 80s movies around the holidays.
Yeah.
So I think
Gremlins, Die Hard.
They have not watched those. My son's been nagging me to watch Gremlins, but they did watch. He does. He wants to see them. They did just finish the other day Christmas Vacation.
Oh,
and
okay.
they've never seen that
so you
before.
just went right from that to because doesn't he drop an MF in that movie?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. They are 6 and 4 years old, so we're not the best parents.
No,
but they were going to see it sometime
Sure.
anyway, and it's just such a classic movie. So they watched that. We watched like Rudolph.
Mm-hmm.
We watched the other sort of movies that are quintessential to the 80s. And
Sure.
so they have not seen, though, a lot of just regular kind of... This kind of had like a Sandlot feel to it, except for Sandlot was good.
Yeah. Was that a Sandlot feel if it was terrible?
Yeah, but in terms of like boy kind of same age and small neighborhood with lots of like community members.
Yeah, small town community that kind of rallies together, but you
Right.
don't know who they are at all.
But Sandlot had a great plot, whereas this movie is complete garbage.
This movie has no plot. It does have a plot, but it doesn't seem to hold true to it, or even try to make you understand what the plot device is that makes this all come together, which is the bike.
It's very disconnected. And
yes.
One of the things I did want to ask you, maybe I should have asked you before the show, is that I love when you and Jarrett do like a quick rundown of what the movie is. Just to kind of like set it up of like, hey, here's the movie in a nutshell.
Okay.
Could you do that? Or should I do that?
Well, I mean, you're asking me to do it, so I'll try to do it.
I want you to do it.
Okay.
And I want you to do it quickly. Like, I want to time you.
Okay. You want a quick rundown.
I want a disaster of 30 seconds.
Whoa.
I'll give you a minute.
That's a challenge. Okay, that's a challenge.
I'll
take that challenge.
I'll give you 1 minute. I want you to describe what this movie is about, like plot line, everything.
Right. And if nobody actually wants spoilers and they want to see it, you can actually see this movie right now on YouTube. Just look up The Dirt Bike Kid, and there is one in HD. Look up the HD one.
Yes, don't look up for the standard definition, because it's not standard. It's shit.
It is
definition.
the actual VHS copy that somebody uploaded.
Yes.
So this is you're going to challenge me with this.
Yes. Sir.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ready? Mm-hmm. 1 minute. Mm-hmm. And go.
So there's this kid named Jack, and Jack has a mother that's kind of a single mom, and they're living on their own, and Jack's kind of downtrodden. So Jack goes to this dirt bike race, and he sees this dirt bike, and he winds up bartering with a boy for it. He gets the dirt bike home, cleans it up, and the dirt bike comes alive. Who knows why? After that, the dirt bike takes him on an adventure through the city. Cops are chasing him, bikers are chasing him, and then he runs into a baseball game in which he's playing in, and then that baseball game is also the owner Mike of this hot dog stand, and the Mike is also going to be foreclosed on by this bank, Hodgkin's Bank, and then the bike saves the day by having them find out that Hodgkin's is foreclosing, and it is a conflict of interest, and then after that, the bike goes on a chase with the Hodgkin's manager and saves the day because they blackmail him. I kind of got it.
You kind of got it, and the scary thing about that is like you left out like 70% of the movie because there's so many different random plot lines going on. There's so much, and one of the best, and you only see this character in the beginning of the film and the end of the film.
Mr. Miyagi
is the Mr. Miyagi character, which is like this old creeper, like pedo, who like comes, who's at this motocross bike racing rally for whatever reason, and when this kid, what's his name, Jack is standing there. And he sees this other kid, Max, like who does not race well on this bike. Because the bike is like sabotaging his race.
For some reason, as if like, okay, all right. First, we need to. What is the bike? What is it?
It's like
is it an alien?
It's like a magic carpet.
Okay,
that's what I kind of came to the conclusion of.
Well, because it flies.
Well, because it flies, it has a mind of its own.
Okay,
but nothing beyond that. Like it serves a purpose. Whereas like.
It has feelings,
right? But the magic carpet in like Aladdin, like right. Disney's Aladdin,
yeah.
It doesn't. I can't see them making a movie of itself, like in the future. Like I don't see him making a movie like where he has a magic carpet family, magic carpet family, and he goes to work.
Well, I think carpet kid would be a derogatory term.
So yeah, it doesn't like it just has a purpose to serve Aladdin.
Sure.
So this bike is put on planet Earth to serve young children who don't have real life problems. They just have weird problems.
They have self-esteem problems?
Nope, I don't think this kid had self-esteem problems.
No.
Like, he had friends.
Yeah, he did.
He was on the baseball team.
But his friends are perverts. Bo is a straight up pervert.
So
in this
one of
movie.
the other taglines that John should have mentioned
Yeah.
is my favorite is, "It is true what they say."
Wait, there was more than one?
There is more bounce to the ounce.
Oh, that was what Bo said.
In the beginning
yeah.
of the film, like the very beginning of the film. The
Okay,
first
well
couple minutes.
let's start it off. So we are established that Jack is watching television at home while his mother's like, "Get off the television,"
Yeah.
right? And she's burning. She's like, "Oh, your bacon's gonna be ready," and she's burning bacon in the kitchen. And then instead of like the the smoke detector,
The phone rings.
That's right, the phone rings.
She asks Jack to get it.
Right. And because she answers the phone, she lets the bacon burn. And then the smoke detector goes off. And instead of attending to the smoke detector, she goes into the kitchen where you'd think she puts out the fire.
Nope.
Grabs scissors and then runs to the television and cuts the electrical cord of the television.
If you don't want to show up, if I'm not going to let you watch the TV, no one's going to watch the TV.
Well, Mom, nobody's going to watch the TV because the house is on fire.
but like, think about it. In 1985, a TV set is not something like today, where like you go on Craigslist and for free, you're like,
yeah.
oh, there's a million TVs for free.
No. This was one of those old wooden Zenith televisions. Like, you actually like spend more money for the woodwork than the actual television.
And she just destroyed it.
Cut the cord.
No one's fixing that.
I mean, well, I could fix it, but
Yeah, you can go to Radio Shack and pay someone $6,000 in 1985 to fix it.
no, it's literally positive and negative. But she doesn't know that.
She doesn't. She can't
No.
bake. She can't cook bacon
Yeah,
and talk on the
there was a
phone.
major fire going on.
So then, because of her irresponsible son, which made her cut the TV cord,
Right.
the person on the phone was actually offering her a job interview.
Oh, that's why she was like focused on it.
Right. So
Which, that's a whole side plot.
It is.
that Mom needs a job. Throughout this whole movie, she doesn't get a job.
Dad's not around. Is Dad dead?
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't
because
know.
they do mention one time is like your father used to say.
Yeah, I don't know if he just.
So
left
she's not talking
town.
negatively about him.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Might be dead.
But they're in a really nice house.
They were a really nice house.
And they've got like a fully supplied or fully. They got a full
the garage.
They got a
Yeah.
full garage of tools and
Yeah.
everything else.
A full mechanic's
stocked.
garage in which
Yeah.
he's able to fix up a bike.
Fully stocked everything. Oh,
Yeah.
and he had everything he needed. So
He
in that
goes
same-
to the
in
dirt
that same
bike
scene-
race.
No, in that same scene, let's not forget that she gives him $50.
Mm.
She's like, "Hey, kid, you're not responsible. You don't listen to me, but I'm going to change my mood in a second and say, here's $50 and here's a grocery
Right?
list. Can you go do this for me?"
Yeah.
And so he leaves with $50.
He leaves with $50
On his bicycle.
Mind you, and I said it during the watching of it, is that this movie is basically like the first part of Jack and the Beanstalk, where it's like Mom sends Jack, and his name's Jack. Holy shit!
This is Jack and the bike stalk.
Yes, because okay, she gives him $50 to go to the market, and instead he comes home with this magical bike, just like the magical beans that's going to change their life forever.
So he leaves his house
And that's where the similarities end.
on his bicycle, and he goes to this motocross bike race
Yes.
of kids. And they're like all young adults that are doing it, like teens.
Right, and so this is where you're introduced to his short round knockoff, which is Bo.
And short round / like
I don't know what his nationality was
who knows?
really.
Who knows? But he seems like he's in a Weekend at Bernie's on
Yes!
the beach with sunglasses, a sunglass holder around his neck. And
Yes.
His first introduction to him is you see him staring off in the distance while Jack is watching the bikers and saying, "Isn't this great?" And Bo says, "Yeah, the scenery is great." And he's looking at this.
Yeah, he's not
like
he's
this adult female woman bouncing up and down who has a large chest, and that's when he says the tagline, "It is true what they say, there is more bounce to the ounce."
Yes. No, it's ridiculous. It's I mean he's literally he is that like 80s pervert, but he's not old enough really to like. I guess he would be, but it's so out of place in this movie.
Well, I think we have to understand too. In 1985, in the 80s, like being Harvey Weinstein, Matt Lauer is completely acceptable, and it's funny. And this movie like is really timely in terms of like there's so much rapey creepiness.
Well, okay. Well, I was gonna save it, but yeah, no, the whole movie, Mr. Hodgkins is basically playing the Weinstein playbook, like the whole movie.
Yes.
Oh my God, he goes from hitting on the mom, like popping champagne in his office during a job interview.
Yes.
And like crawling across the couch to her, right? And basically saying like, if you want a job, let's, like talk over dinner is what he says.
Let's not forget the time when a woman was trying to escape his home and he called his rabid boxer dog that scared her back into the room, and he said, "Good boy."
And then she proceeded to bash the window out to escape
with a bottle of wine.
Broke
the whole window.
Meanwhile, he's at the other end of the door petting it, being like, "My cherie, I'm coming for you." Oh. And then goes in and goes, "That's the second one today."
Just a disaster.
And then goes, "I should get bars."
Let's go back to
this is the kind of movie we're talking about here.
So they're at the motocross race.
Yeah.
And after this bounce to the ounce comment, we see this kid Max who's racing on this red bike, which is the bike, the dirt bike of the movie.
Right.
And it just shuts down.
It's going out of control.
The race. It goes out of control. It makes him lose, and he just kind of beats the shit out of the bike. He's kicking it, whatever. And at some point, young Jack says out loud, like, "I'd love a bike like that."
Right.
And out comes magically
Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Creeper from behind the tree.
I don't like, he just comes out of nowhere. He comes out of nowhere like that guy in what is it? The Sarah Michelle Gellar movie where she's like making magic like with her recipes. What is that movie with the crab on the shelf?
What is that?
Yeah, but there's a guy that comes at the beginning of that movie and the end of that movie very much
Cruel
like
Intentions.
him. No, not Scooby-Doo. Is it?
No. I think it's
Urban Legend.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Sarah Michelle's in that too, right? Damn it! I should know this.
So anyway, he shows up, Mr. Creeper, and he says that maybe the bike isn't working because it takes a special kind of kid,
right,
to ride that bike.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
he says,
basically,
maybe I should buy it back. He says, maybe I should buy it back.
He does?
He does.
Oh.
Because I was like, so this guy owned the bike before? I mean, obviously.
Oh, that's right. You mean Miyagi said it.
Yeah, Miyagi said it. And then he just vanishes.
Yeah.
You don't see him again for the rest of the movie until the end. And
is he selling it to people?
So Jack goes up to the kid. He's like, "Don't beat the bike up."
Right.
And the kid Max is like, "It's a bike, you loser. Like, it's not some animal."
But Max is kind of schizophrenic. Because at first he's like beating the bike, right? And you're right. What he said here happens throughout this whole movie is that they treat this bike like it is an animal.
Right. Like it's a person. They personify the whole bike. I mean, the whole movie.
And nobody seems to question it.
Well, right. So like you see, like this bike is alive.
Well, you see that
no
in the
one
next
else
scene,
in the movie
but
recognizes that,
or they do, and they are not questioning it though.
It's like having a ghost kiss you on your mouth, and you're like, "That was the wind." Like,
no, what?
That's exactly what it's like.
No, okay, so I'm like the wind. I don't know.
Is that a bad analogy?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's horrible.
No.
It's like
the wind.
It's like I don't know.
No, it's literally like it's like saying like this thing that isn't supposed to be real is real. Let's move on. Like that's what they're doing. They're
yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's looking at it and going, that's normal. Nobody questions it. As if bikes are always alive.
And they fly.
Yes. Nobody's like most people go is, whoa.
How old is Max? Is he in middle school? I mean, not Max, Jack. He's like middle school.
Yeah.
And automatically out of nowhere he knows how to ride a dirt bike.
He's a computer wizard. He's a mechanic.
He's popping a wheelie. He knows how to fix bikes.
No, I assume this is all the bike.
Okay, but no, he knows how to fix the bike.
He knows how to
He
fix
knows the
it.
computer stuff.
Right.
He can hack into bank
But I don't
accounts.
think his bike skills. I think that's the bike. I'm gonna
we'll
say bike
we'll
on
say
that.
but
The bike can fly. I'm pretty sure it's the bike.
Maybe the lesson here is that he had these other talents. He could be making a lot of money with his computer skills and with his mechanics.
I know,
skills.
because apparently you can just give people money at the bank.
Yes, just put in a few ones and zeros.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the bank is as easily hackable as a middle schooler being able to get into it and just type a couple ones and zeros.
So pretty much, I mean, we really didn't have to explain much because pretty much from the moment that he buys this bike from this kid Max for $50, which was the money that his mother gave him to go to the grocery store, and his BMX bike.
Yeah.
His regular bike.
That was part of the
He
barter
gives it to her.
situation.
So he shows up at his mom's house with his bike that's covered in mud, all kind of beat up, and no groceries.
No.
It's just what's going on? He's like, I really wanted this bike.
Yeah.
And then he has this bike and he does magical things with the rest of the movie. That is the movie. That's it. Until halfway through the movie we get this other plot.
Right. So basically that night when his mom's like, "No, you're grounded," right? He goes downstairs and cleans up the bike. And this is where
he goes to bed. And then 7 times throughout the movie he jumps out of his window. And sneaks down the trellis.
Oh, the beanstalk?
Yes, the beanstalk, to go to the garage.
Yeah.
And his mom's listening to some Marvin Gaye garbage,
Right.
1985 music.
Yeah.
And
Marvin-
not Marvin
not-
Gaye. He's not garbage.
not
I'm
accurate.
just saying, she listens to some
Never
romance.
gonna give you up.
That's not Marvin Gaye.
No, I know, because Marvin Gaye was wrong. It's not
And
1980s.
that's not
I'm doing
garbage.
Rick Astley.
That's not garbage.
I know it's not. Marvin Gaye's
Jeez.
not garbage.
A ghost
I'm doing
kissing you,
Rick
it's the
Astley
wind.
because Rick Astley would make sense in that.
But she's listening to really soft music.
Oh, no, she wouldn't, or she'd hear the dirt bike. It's got to be something.
Well, no, it's really soft because you heard it, but it's just a disaster of a plot movie.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I
he sneaks
totally
out of the
missed
garage.
it.
He sneaks out of the garage to I'm gonna fix this bike.
Yeah, and then so he starts cleaning it up. He's got the rags, and as he cleans, the fenders grow like erections.
Yes, they're like the first time he wipes it down with water,
Yeah.
it droops. It's like, ooh. And there's nothing
Okay.
said. This is like a scene where it's I felt like I was watching Castaway for 5 minutes because there's no commentary, there's no talking.
He doesn't. He's not like, whoa.
He's like, I'm just gonna
nothing.
watch this bike, and it's alive,
Right?
And I'm not shocked.
And okay, so he seems to be some master mechanic because in this montage, not only is he wiping the bike, but he pulls out a set of double headlights to install onto the handlebars, right? To give the bike headlights. Now,
To give it eyes.
Yeah, basically to eyes, because these headlights move and they blink and they are to show emotion that the bike will have for its feelings. Are we to believe that the bike was blind prior to this?
Yes. That's why I was so pissed off. Because Max was kicking it around. It's like, I can't see anything. I don't know where I'm going.
I can't make magic!
The Johnny Five.
I need input. Johnny Five. You're the very bad boy.
You need to be a special kid.
It's just as racist now when we do it as it was when Fisher Stevens did it.
I don't know. Back then it wasn't. Back then it was accepted.
Right?
So
Fisher Stevens has apologized for that role.
he fixes this bike up, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And essentially all he does though is he wipes mud off of it,
Yeah.
and now it's beautiful.
Right.
And he goes on his first joyride.
Have you ever seen Christine?
Yes.
It's basically a Christine type thing,
It
too.
is without
right?
the bike being as creepy.
Without the bike being a murderess.
Because
Yes.
the bike kind of is like, the bike is not in love with anyone.
No.
The bike doesn't even love this kid. The bike's like, I am going to utilize you to do what I want to do, and if you don't want to do it, then you're off. I'm gonna throw you off.
I'm gonna rape ride you.
The bike,
Because-
the bike has this ability to flip its seat up and toss humans off of the
Through
bike
the air.
through the air, 100 feet in the
Yeah,
air.
absolutely.
And it does it multiple times throughout the movie. So he goes on joyrides. And then one thing I want to mention too is that throughout this movie, some parent or some association complained about rider safety at some point, because every single time that this kid Jack
are you doing the helmet thing?
gets on the bike, he takes his glasses off. Mm-hmm. He hands them to somebody, or he keeps them in his hand. Most of the time, he hands them to somebody, puts the helmet on, and then puts the glasses on.
Mind you, they're the same glasses that he wore in Christmas Story. I think they were prescription.
I think they were. So maybe he couldn't literally see it all when he didn't have them on.
But anytime somebody's riding the bike, it's definitely an older teenager body.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Nobody did their own stunts in this movie.
No.
So he goes on this joyride, and part of the joyride, I think in the first one, he starts flying on the bike just out of nowhere.
No, so this is what happens. He goes on the joyride. He's like, whoa, like the bike's out of control. He winds up like speeding through a construction zone, and there's a police officer there.
That's right.
The
stereotypical
Dudley
police.
Do-right police officer.
Every stereotype of a police officer.
Because there's only 2 police officers in this town. There's Mustache and Chief.
And the chief is
the chief is also the dispatcher?
The chief is the dispatcher. The dispatch is done from the chief's desk.
Right. But since there's only one police officer,
and this police officer
they're just talking back and forth.
Who's got the patrol car, he doesn't say what's going on. He only uses police code, which is completely incorrect.
Oh, absolutely.
He's always like, oh, we got a 79, 43, 46, 45, 43, 74, 82. That's what we got going on right now. We got a 74, 67, 88.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a mixture of like radio codes. We don't even know if you would know actually if they were actually accurate. the codes.
Yeah, it's just a disaster that it's Dudley Do-Right.
Yeah,
I mean it's blah, 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 blah. And so he's chasing after this kid. All of a sudden, the kid takes a dirt bike,
drives up a escape with an emergency escape
ladder,
scaffolding,
and the cop looks
just
up like
plows
what?
right into
a
wall, dead, just straight into the wall, right? And then proceeds to do more codes, and the chief is basically, are you on drugs again? He's like, nah, I haven't done drugs since in high school, right? And you're like, what is this movie?
You're like, I'm waiting for the laugh track from the audience to go off.
Yep.
So the kid escapes that,
right?
And he ends up
in a park,
and all of a sudden you see all these real motorcycles show up.
Right.
You're like, what is this? And it's a biker gang.
Mm-hmm. And they're bullying a middle school student.
And they're like,
for no reason.
Nice bike, kid.
Yeah. And then they get off of his bike and they get onto the dirt bike.
What was that guy's name?
It's Big Slime.
Yeah.
Is that it? Big Slime?
Big Slime.
Big Slime.
Big Slime. And so is it Big Slime?
I'm pretty sure it's Big Slime. Yeah, Big Slime.
Big Slime.
Yeah.
So Big Slime is this huge fat biker guy.
Yep.
And he gets on the bike. I'm going to show you how to ride
Here's
this.
a problem. The bike, we have to refer to it as just the bike.
Because it doesn't have a name.
It doesn't have a name for something that basically is like Johnny Five or the robot from Space Camp, or it has these kind of personifications to it, yet doesn't have a name, never speaks, and so when we say the bike, we're talking about a main character in this movie that has no name.
Yes. So he gets on this bike, and he thinks I don't know what he thinks he's going to do.
I don't know.
I'm going to ride this around, and I'm going to give it back to you and teach you a lesson, boy.
I just don't know.
So he gets on the bike, and the bike...
I think they just assumed to steal it.
...has a mind of its own, and it just takes him up these stairs, these bumpy stairs, and then down these bumpy stairs.
Every single person who has to basically do a stunt on this bike is trying so hard to make it look like the bike is alive and is doing a horrible job. He's like, whoa, and it's you just look like you're a horrible rider more than it's alive.
It's awful.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it winds up using its ejector seat and throws him off
to throw this 350-pound, 400-pound guy off.
And then Jack gets on,
jumps on, and rides off.
And they are chasing after him, so the bike decides it's time to use its flying power.
And he just flies into the night.
Okay, but he doesn't fly directly into the night.
It's diagonally.
This is a movie. All flying will be done diagonally in this movie. He actually, at all times, is moving diagonally from one corner of the screen to the other corner of the screen. Either it's up to down or down to up or left to right. Like, it doesn't matter as long as it's in a northeast, northwest position in the screen. Like, it's always moving that way, diagonally.
Yeah. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So he's flying around on this bike.
Oh, the scenes, also the flying, it's like the worst green screen, like on stock footage of a city.
Yes.
Like
the night sky. It's like they're like, we just want the helicopter video. Yeah, can you play that in the background?
Yeah. Do we have any more? No. We'll just keep looping it. It's cool.
So he lands back at home.
Like, actually, literally land. Like, he lands in
the garage. Jumps off, climbs up to bed.
Yep.
Lays down.
Yep.
Mom comes in Ferris Bueller style because she hears the sound.
Yep.
Outside.
Yep.
She hears the sound outside in the garage, and he's already up in the bed, Ferris Bueller style, laying in bed. She kisses him on the head and leaves the room.
Yeah. And that's it. She wakes up the next morning, sees that the bike is still there, like she thought, and proceeds to go, I'm going to sell this bike. So she then wrestles with the bike because the bike is fighting back.
Which she doesn't recognize that this bike's alive.
Right. This is the
bike is turned off.
Right.
And it is driving away from her as she's trying to hold it.
It is revving the other way, and she's fighting with it, and then she's like fighting with the handlebars as she's trying to put it into the back of her station wagon, and
which
nobody
she must lift because she just picks it up, puts it in the back of her station
lift,
wagon.
bro. You don't know. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, she's not recognizing it. Nobody actually recognizes it, to the point which we'll get to of when they lock it up. Okay, that's the icing on the cake of this entire movie, I think, for me. So
at some point when she ends up giving him the bike, no, she takes the bike.
She takes the bike
and she sells it to this bike shop. We don't know for how much.
No.
And then the bike, after she leaves the bike shop, sneaks out of the bike shop.
It immediately, after she's like, okay, bye, seemed like it hasn't cut away, and the bike's just like, peace out.
And so it goes to the Little League, it goes to all places, the Little League baseball game, where Jack is with his team about to play, and there's two teams. There's Jack's team.
Right.
And
which is Mike's Dogs.
Mike's Hot Dogs team.
Right.
And then there's the bank team,
which is Hodgkin's Bank.
And their team is great, and Mike's Hot Dog team is not supposedly not great. Mike,
but I mean, I know that stores sponsor teams, but are they actually the teams?
Right, because on the jerseys of the Hodgkin's Bank teams,
not their names.
It's like 24/7 ATM.
It's just more advertisement.
On
it's
the
like
back
loans.
On the back of their names.
Loans, get the fuck off of first base.
5% interest. Well, 1985, who knows? 10% interest or whatever. So the coach of the Hodgkin's Bank,
loan steals first, loan steals second,
is an attractive secretary of the Hodgkin's Bank CEO.
Yes,
and she's very kind-hearted. And
her
nice.
name is Mindy. Is that right? Is it
Maisie.
Mindy? Miss Maisie.
Miss Maisie.
Yes, Miss Maisie, who goes from secretary to like horny housewife in a matter of 30 minutes.
It might have been like an hour. Who knows? And then there's Mike, something's off with him. He just seems kind of downtrodden, and he can't get
He's
the tough
like
gets
Mr.
going,
Belding from Saved by the Bell.
He just doesn't get sayings. He's just like, fool me once, can't be fooled again. But his team, the kids love him.
Yes,
probably because he just lets them have a food fight every time they're.
That's
in his
why.
store.
Yeah. So the man, like, okay. Here's the subplot of this movie. Here's like the actual driving subplot. Is this man Mike, right? He owns a hot dog stand, right? The bank, which is Hodgkin's Bank, is going to foreclose on his business.
Yes.
Why? Maybe because he sells hot dogs at 75 cents and lets hundreds of children have food fights on a daily basis.
Just completely destroy his restaurant every single day. So the kid, Jack, gets up to bat. And he gets up to bat, and of course, he takes 2 swings, 2 strikes. He's about to strike out for his team.
The bike is watching all this, by the way.
The bike shows up, and all of a sudden, Jack realizes the bike shows up.
Yeah.
The first 2 strikes, he didn't know the bike was there.
This is my thing about confidence, like additional confidence.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So the
Yeah.
bike, he sees the bike, and of course, he's going to hit a home run.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah.
he, boom, cranks the ball. He rounds first. Helmet comes off. Round in second base. Going to third base. The ball's coming to the shortstop. The coach is saying, throw it home. He throws it home, and Jack slides in, and you believe this kid is safe. Incorrect.
Oh, yeah.
The umpire calls him out. Why does the umpire call him out?
Oh, because Mr. Hodgkins, the owner of the bank, has a mortgage on the umpire's home. He basically holds the mortgage to every person in the town.
Yeah, and this happens when there's small towns and there's monopolies. This is
Right.
why we break up monopolies,
Yes.
because when the CEO of the bank is like, yeah, I'm going to take your... You can't just do that. You can't just take someone's mortgage away.
This is my assumption on how this movie got made. Okay, there was the writer of this movie literally had a hot dog stand and then got foreclosed on by a big town bank, a small town bank, and then was just, I'm going to show them, and wrote this dirt bike kid masterpiece.
So, but the CEO of this bank
Yeah.
is a stereotypical, like, Scrooge McDuck.
Comes overweight, creepy,
three-piece suit with the belly chain,
asshole to everybody around him, servants.
comes in the limo, has a cane,
Yep, has a cane.
slicked hair.
His
parted.
butler keeps preparing him different hats to wear, in which then he smacks away, like, for no reason.
One's a cowboy hat one time. You're like, what? Darkwing Duck? Like, what is going on? So he's at the game.
Yeah.
And then after the game, we go to the kids being at the hot dog. Mike's
Right.
hot dog.
They're having their food
which they're
fight.
destroying.
Yep.
And then Mike finally comes out and tells Maisie, the other coach of the team, because
Right.
they're friendly.
Yeah, they're
that
friendly.
I'm being foreclosed on.
Right.
And my life sucks.
And Maisie is literally, in that last scene with the umpire, like, basically knows that there was cheating, and it's like, I can't, it's my, Hodgkins is my boss. I
Right,
can't do anything.
She's the CEO's secretary.
Right. So, which is, I mean, everything about this is, like, too convenient and too weird in this movie, too, where you're just like, is that how it would go? Like, and also, who are these Hodgkins team kids? Like, where are they from?
They're the wealthy side of town. I don't know. That's what it looks like. It's
They're
like Bad
from
News Bears.
Riverside?
Bad News Bears versus
Yeah.
the wealthy kids.
Right.
Like,
So,
okay, so they go to the hot dog stand. There's that discussion where, like, okay, I'm losing my business.
right.
The next thing you see is the kid. Well, he rides off on his bike because the kid Jack is like, we gotta save this hot dog place.
No, when you're out, you're out. Because
No,
that's how it works.
we gotta save him. And so he rides off on his bike, and everyone once again is like looking around, like, oh, this kid just got this dirt bike, and now he's doing acrobatic stunts, and they don't.
Nope.
They're a little shocked, but they're like, we'll go about a regular day. He shows up at home. His mom is like, we got to take this bike back.
Right.
But he explains so Jack then takes the bike.
Yes. Oh, yeah, okay.
Back to
yeah.
the bike shop
because
he wants to
what's
be
the
honest.
Mom say? What's the mom say?
The mom says, "What are you on dope?"
That's one of them. But no, what I was referencing is the whole, like, you gotta go by the rules or something.
Oh no!
Oh,
No,
that's later, right?
No. That's the same time. You have to, because he's like, Mom, I've got to. We got to.
We got to do something about the foreclosure, and then she you got to go through the system.
Yeah.
She says,
And the bike, the bike
rolls
its headlights. The bike is because once again she picks the bike up. She's the
Yeah,
Incredible Hulk,
we missed
and
another
she
side
picks
plot.
The bike up, and she
Right.
puts it in the back of her station wagon, and Jack's like, "No, don't take the bike back,"
because
And
she's
like,
accusing him of basically stealing from the bike store.
and he's like, "No, I didn't steal. I talked to the bike owner, and I said I'd give him $50 for it."
No.
but I didn't have
Before
the-
that, she goes,
Oh,
see,
that's
she
right.
goes, I didn't steal. Like, the bike's alive and it just followed me. And she's like, are you on dope?
Right. and so he's like, we got to do this. And she goes, no, you have to follow the system.
Right.
And then
the bike rolls itself.
it's just like the eyes flash up and it flashes down.
Even the bike's like, this is heavy-handed.
We're not going through this bureaucratic red tape.
Who wrote this Scene.
So he takes the bike back to the bike store.
Right? And then barters with the bike owner to be like, I'll deliver whatever Amazon deliveries you have or whatever.
Essentially packages in the radio flyer cart.
Right, in a radio flyer cart attached to the bike that he has to pay back. Right? And then this side plot just goes nowhere. Like it just.
I think you see the bike like shoot a package
the
off of
bike
its seat again.
Does
seat
the delivery
ejector,
on its own,
and the package is probably glass, and it doesn't break or anything. It just lands perfectly. And then you see
that's it. Like
him
there's
talking to
no
his mom
resolution
again.
there.
She's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"I'm paying off this bike with packages." She's
Right.
like, "Can I call the bike store owner?" He's like, "Yeah, you can call him." Like there's no reason for this scene.
Nope.
At all, or the packages, or him getting the bike.
Yeah, you can call him up.
Because you know what? You could literally sink the bike in the middle of the ocean like the Titanic, and it would come back.
No, it's just come back. Yeah, it's just haunting
It would
him.
fly.
Kind of
It would
like
fly in the air. Like
it's
the
like a
magic carpet.
codependent relationship. That,
Magic carpet. It's
yeah.
like the magic carpet.
Yeah. So, meanwhile,
Mike's got 1 week to vacate. By the way, hot dog.
yes, you're right. Meanwhile,
His mom.
Jack, right? Jack, his mom has an interview for Hodgkins Bank.
Yes.
Right? And she goes in to interview with Mr. Hodgkins. And
Creeper.
he's being extremely creepy. He's like crawling across the couch. He's got his
Champagne out.
arm around, champagne out, being like, let's talk about your future here at Hodgkins over dinner, And you're like, what? She's just interviewing to be a teller. Like, that's
Like his secretary introduces
like, what was the janitor's interview?
her
like,
at the front door. Like when they meet at
Yeah.
his office, she's like, she's got great resume, and he's like, I can see that. And
Yeah.
you're like, what? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, and everybody's like not addressing it, being like, Mr. Hodgkins,
It's
you gotta
1985.
stop.
It's
Yeah,
1985.
that's right. That's
No
how
one
Harvey got
addresses
away with it. So, meanwhile,
She's having this meeting with him.
she's having this meeting, and I don't remember what causes Jake. Oh, they're having another conversation where he's like, "You got to go through the system." He's like, "Some things can't be done through the system," and then the bike must have been on like some like bungee cords propeller or something, because
Yes.
like he gets sprung out of frame, and then there's Maisie and Mike just left there being like, "Now what do we do?"
And so the bike, with a mind of its own, decides the only way to end this
is to completely destroy the bank.
Well, the bank. So the CEO of the bank, Mr. Hodgkins, has a model, like in Zoolander.
Yes.
Of his bank, of the new bank
Really,
he wants
really,
to build.
really,
He
really
wants to
good
build the
looking.
bank where Mike's Hot Dogs is, and so he shows up and he drives a dirt bike through the bank,
Yes.
causing mass chaos.
Yeah.
And
Somehow, none of what he does, he gets the child gets arrested for, or the mother charged for any of this, because that's how it should actually go down, right?
Yes.
They are literally like pretending that's just what I was saying about they do not address that the bike is alive. They just immediately go for it. Everybody's just like, bike's alive, let's lock it up.
so the bike smashes through the door of this guy's, Mr. Hodgkins' office.
Saves the mom because she's about
Saves
to
the
get
mom.
raped.
Yeah, it's the Matt Lauer of Hodgkins Bank, the owner, is so he takes this dirt bike, and just rams it right into the model, smashes it into smithereens, and the guy's like, "Who is this?" And Jack's like, "Mom." And he's like, "Is this your son?" She's like, "I might know him." What are you doing here? It's like, what is this?
I can hear you.
This writing is horrible. And so, they just leave. Essentially, that's
Yeah.
the next scene. And he's like, "Oh, you can't do the bike because you can't take this land because it's Mike's hot dog stand."
Right. And then, so this is when the mom gives the speech of, you got to go through the system. We actually jumped ahead because this is where he tries to go to
Okay.
Hodgkins' actual mansion.
Yep.
Which, okay, I am so confused where this man's money is, because they established later on in this movie, when they look at his actual bank account, he has about $1,000 in the bank.
Right.
Now, I understand that you can put things on loans and like
Sure.
mortgages and stuff like that, but you gotta have a little bit of capital to support this
rich,
lifestyle.
but he isn't rich because he owns the bank. He's probably stealing people's funds, but we don't get into that.
No,
subplot.
and that's where that's where the blackmail should really come from
And the
in this movie.
mansion, let's be honest, like
It's
It's
it's like Ferris Bueller's Home from
right. It's really not that fancy.
It's just somewhere in Upper Chicago.
So we show up there, and when you show up to the house, you see inside of the house, before the kid knocks on the door, that there's this woman being
sexually harassed.
Yes, by him. And maybe she's
He's
there
in
for
a
a job
robe.
interview or whatever.
He's in a robe, just like Harvey.
In the middle of the day, and he hears a knock at the door. He goes after he harasses her, goes and gets the kid, and the kid is like,
Oh, she is terrified
She is
too.
trying to escape.
That's what I said. This is the Harvey playbook. Like, this is actually how it played out for many a lady. I'm sorry.
goes to the door. The kid's like, you need to not take Mike's hot dog stand because no one understands. And the viewers of this movie don't understand.
No?
The audience, anyone in the movie, why you're foreclosing on the hot dog stand.
No, nobody understands.
Like, Mike's like, I've made all my payments.
Well,
Why are you...
but I'm not quite sure he has. Like, me personally, I don't think like
that's not explained.
No.
At all.
So while this is happening, he's like, just get out of here, kid. And you think he's sicking his dog on Jack, but he's actually sicking the dog to make the woman who's about to escape, like, back in her room. And then kind of brushes off Jack. It's a pointless scene. And all it does is establish that you can't go through the system. You got to do it the hard way.
And this guy's super rapey.
And the guy's super rapey. But this is like the last time he's super rapey.
Yes.
So that never comes back
but
either.
But not a chauvinistic, because that happens in the next scene. So what the conversation of the door is with the kid, Jack, is that Jack ends up being like, can I come to your board of directors meeting to talk about Mike's hot dog stand?
That's right. That's
and the guy to Mr. Hodgkins to get Jack out of here is like, of course you can come. The kid's like, well, when is it? He goes, it's tomorrow.
Get the hell out of here. I got towels to remove.
I got women to assault.
Right.
So kid goes away. He goes, he creepily
get
goes
out of
in
here.
the
Come
room,
on.
and the woman has escaped because she smashed a window out
Yep.
with a bottle of wine.
Yep.
And he's like, that's the second one this week.
Yeah,
or today.
they take harassment and assault so lightly in a child's
1985.
movie.
Yes.
Yeah, but in a child's movie that shouldn't even be there.
Well, what does that teach children?
And we all learned, didn't we?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh man, everybody's complacent with Hodgkins in this movie. Like, nobody addresses it. Like, you could actually
Complicit.
Oh, did I say? Yeah,
You said
I do that.
complacent.
Yeah,
They're
I do
complacent
this
too
all-
with
yeah,
them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Complacent, complicit.
Yeah, they because nobody's turning him in. Nobody's addressing the situation.
You don't say it to the boss unless it's 2017, bro.
I know, but I mean, these are the things you could get him on, and instead we're focusing on this weird, kind of, I guess, how do we put it? Like, because we're about to get into like the meat and potatoes, like end of second act here, where they figure out why, like, what he's actually doing by hacking into the computer.
But so he leaves
right?
the guy's house and he runs into the motorcycle gang again.
Oh yeah, that's right. Big Slime shows back up for no reason whatsoever.
We don't know why. And then there's a chase that ends up on a pier, and two motorcycle guys go zooming into the water, and then he drives away, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you, kid." And
why are they after the child?
because
they're not hired by Hodgkins till after this scene.
they're not even a real biker gang.
No.
So
No, they're not.
The next scene goes to
Is Max their son, by the way?
no, but yeah, Max is somehow
We'll get
paid.
there.
Yeah, Max
Yeah.
is paid by Hodgkins. The guy from the original, the kid who had originally had the bike, is paid by Hodgkins to find the bike and this kid.
Right.
Because they're causing so much trouble for Mr. Hodgkins.
Right.
So
So-
the next scene,
This is the first day that Hodgkins tries to demolish Mike's hot dog.
No, isn't the next scene when he leaves? Because he said the board of directors. So the next scene, you see
yeah.
him in a suit.
No, I totally. Yeah.
He's sitting in a suit, and his mom's like, "Why are you in a suit?" And he's like, "Too busy
right,
to
the
talk."
suit.
And he just walks away from his mom, and he shows up
Mergers and acquisitions.
at this board of directors meeting.
Yeah.
And they are voting before he shows up.
Yeah.
They're voting on, should we allow women on the Hodgkins official softball team?
Yes.
And
that's
they
right.
vote no. And then Mr. Hodgkins says, "Bye-bye, bimbos." And you're like, this scene is not necessary at all, and it only
I'm telling
supports
you,
the fact
the writer literally just had some like people to really be like, send a message home to. This is for my hometown of Chicago.
like this guy just hates women,
Yeah.
And he makes it like, yep, that's how banks are run. And maybe in 1985, that's how they really run. It's terrifying.
It is.
So then Miss Macy, Maisie comes in and says,
oh, yeah. She's like, you have a meeting
Jack's
with
here.
Mr. Jack. Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't have no meeting. And so what do you think happens?
Well, obviously, Jack realizes that you can't go and do things through the system.
Whoa.
And that you have to do things the dirt bike way.
So he gets on the dirt bike. Dirt bike goes through the bank again.
Smashes through a door.
Oh, but you forget that the people that are at that meeting this time, that are at the board of directors meeting, are the media and the press.
That's right.
So they see Mr. Hodgkins after he smashes the dirt bike on top of the board directors meeting table. Mr. Hodgkins grabs the throat of Jack.
Yeah,
and is about to
he's
murder
about
him.
to do
He's about to kill him.
assault again.
And they're taking pictures, and he's just like, they're like, "What are you doing, Mr. Hodgkins?" The media
He's
is
like, I'm just appreciating this fine young boy.
This
here.
is entertainment.
Yeah,
I wanted to entertain you, press, by having a kid destroy our meeting and my model again.
Yeah,
and so
nobody questions anything in this movie.
They come up with the agreement.
Yeah,
in that moment that
they would look into other options to not destroy
so
Mike's hot dog stand.
He doesn't make any promises. He just says, I'm going to make it work.
I'm going to look into other options to not destroy the hot dog stand.
So he's taking pictures.
Right.
Mike from the hot dog stand shows up at the bank. I don't know why.
He's just always appearing, by the way.
This is when the relationship and the romantic relationship kicks off between Macy and Mike from the hot dog stand.
Yes. Because this is where he's like, would you like to get a cup of coffee? And we were like, yeah, but who's going to pay for that coffee, Mike?
Mike has no money because you're foreclosing on your hot dog stand for 79 cents. So then the next scene you see...
Would you like to get a cup of coffee? You're buying.
Trying to demolish.
Yes. So they now, like... They showed up. Everybody has showed up to Mike's hot dog stand because a bulldozer has arrived, and Mr. Hodgkins is like, demolish it. And he's like, you promised. And he's like, yeah, I promised that I'd look into it, and there's no options. Sorry, pal. You know, like the typical bad guy thing. And this is where the dirt bike decides that it's going to have Jack hop on board and then attach itself to a trailer. And when I say trailer, we're talking about like a Star Wagon like trailer, like an actual livable trailer here. And then pulls the trailer out of the parking lot and into oncoming traffic and causes multiple fatalities.
and even in the movie, like the scene, like the trailer,
it's a full-on crash. Like there are cars crashing into this trailer
that's made of paper mache. Pretty much.
Well, it's the same kind of trailer as like that you'd put on like a Bigfoot like rally.
As the car breaks, as the trailer breaks apart, you're like, that's just paper.
Oh yeah, it's straight up from like Blues Brothers. It's just cars because when cars hit a trailer, didn't you know they actually have to like careen upwards and onto their side,
but now,
onto the trailer.
Now the cop who also shows up has lost his patrol car.
He's been demoted onto a motorcycle with a sidecar.
Yes. So he's chasing after the kid now because Mr. Hodgkins, who owns the police department, go get him, boys.
But he's driving so erratically that like the third wheel, the sidecar, isn't even touching the ground.
It's awful. I don't remember what happens. He destroys the bike somehow.
So somehow Jack goes, there's one of those tractor trailer trucks that transport cars, and like in all movies, which I've never seen a tractor trailer actually be this way, is when it's empty of cars. Of course, the ramp is down and prepared for any car to launch off the back of it.
So he rides up on top of it.
Yep, he rides.
Jack sails into the sky.
Bye, and he flies away. Right, he actually does
through
fly
the city and everything.
Yeah,
whereas the cop gets to the top and he's like, "I better stop,"
and he stops
because I'm not going to fly.
Yeah,
and then he calls.
But he could have made a cool jump.
Well, then the chief is like, "Where are you there, Charlie?" And he's like, "I'm a 0747 up in the 824 at 57
on a truck."
On top of a truck.
Why did he say on top of a truck?
And the chief's like, "You better stay there." And that's it. And then you see Jack flying through the sky diagonally. With all the stock footage of the city. Mm-hmm. Lands. Next scene.
So now he's back at home.
Yes.
And Hodgkins and the police have now showed up at Jack's house.
Yes.
Right? And he's like, I want that bike impounded. I want it arrested.
Yep.
This is the best scene of the movie. Okay? Because, like I said, everybody treats this bike like it's alive, like it's real. I mean, it is alive and real, but like nobody has ever been like, is this thing alive? Maybe we should take it to like a lab and get it like investigated or something. Like nobody addresses it. They just immediately like, let's go, bike. Like the cops escort like the bike and put it into a back of a van. And then there have been some ridiculous scenes of cinema in my time, but this takes the cake. Like the bike is, we are shown a hallway of jail cells, and the bike, there's one jail cell door that's in the foreground here, that the jail cell door is open, and the bike in a slow, sad music, as if the thing is alive, is escorted down the hallway by a police officer, and then put into this jail cell, the door closed behind him, and all you see is its sad headlight eyes, where it's like,
But it doesn't make any sounds or noise. It's just a light.
It's just there, and the headlights are like doing some sort of sad emoting, and you're like, did it just, because the people in the jail cells next to the bike being locked up are people.
Right, they're human beings. And then there's this bike. They're like, what is this? No one dresses it.
No.
Next scene
is Maisie bailing the bike out.
Jack just shows up, and the police officer in the front's like,
no,
hey.
they call him. They
call him up, and they're like, yeah, come down and get your boy. Come down and get your boy. We're about to let Rico out of this prison.
Bailing the bike is $50, so that'll be $5.
But here's the problem: is that Jack shows up, and the first person he sees is Hot Dog Mike, and he's like, "Mike, you did it." And Mike doesn't say anything, but he's like, "I don't really have any money." And you next see Maisie come around the corner, and she's like, "But I can't stop Mr. Hodgkins from foreclosing on Mike's hot dog stand,
right?
But I can free your bike from jail." Well, first off,
because that's
no
what
one
you want to do.
has ever asked, does this kid have a license to drive the dirt bike?
Well, I don't think you do need one for a dirt bike.
In 1985, maybe you don't.
No, I didn't think you did now. I thought it was a motorcycle.
You can't ride dirt bikes in some cities.
Right.
So
I don't know.
So
but can you fly them?
Well, yeah, I think that's different.
Yeah. You don't need a license for that. You just
FAA
go for it.
Has different standards.
Well,
and
the bike needs to get his own license because it's alive.
So okay. So the next scene is there's Mike and Maisie are grabbing coffee.
Right.
At this place. And in the back, behind Mike, there's this sign that's like,
there's a flyer.
Public service announcement, like, tearing down of Mike's hot dog stand for the new bank. Come and see it. Like, what a great event that'll be. And the event, when they show up, is like ticker tape
fully
parade.
Catered.
Like, fully catered balloons.
It's got pennant banners all over the place.
All the kids are dressed in their uniforms. They're, half off financing
Which
uniforms.
is also funny because the pennant banners and all the flyers and stuff are hung from like street lamps to Mike's place. So when it gets torn down, like the banners and everything has to then fall down on everybody watching. Like it makes no sense.
So Mr.
whatsoever.
Hodgkins asked for special permission for the construction crew, the guys that are setting up this event,
to what? Remote control.
Remote control the front loading construction vehicle.
It's a bulldozer.
The bulldozer.
Yeah.
To destroy it. He wants to be able to control it. Now, it's too much.
Then why doesn't he just drive it?
No, that's too much. That would dirty his suit. So he wants this remote control.
He has an RC car, like we all had as kids, right. Like that has just basically forward and back and left and right.
I want to believe that they tried it with like the first Mr. Hodgkins.
Yeah.
First Mr. Hodgkins in the actual seat of it. But there was a stunt driver and someone died, and that's why they did the remote control. Because they're like, this is too dangerous. Give him remote control to do it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, the night before, and it kind of extends over into this morning, we kind of skipped over it, but Jack and Bo have broken into their school.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Right? And they use their school's computer.
No, why? Why did they break into the school? Because...
Yeah.
Jack and the bike get into a fight.
Oh.
Jack and the bike. So he's riding the bike back from jail. And the bike has his mind of his own. And he's like, I'm not going to listen to you, kid. And Jack's like, I hate you, bike. Oh, that's right. Because the bike goes and rips down part of Mike's hot dog, like, construction fence. He's like runs into the fence to knock it over like one last time. And the kid's like, I hate you. I never want to see you again.
Mike's like, we can't do this anymore. You're just getting me into trouble.
So the bike rides away. The kid's left without the bike.
The bike is basically like, go fuck yourself then. I'm not going to play this game. I'm here to make magic, son.
The kid is crying. Jack is crying now. Ripping up the pages of his BMX magazine.
Mind you, he's crying in the exact same frame and angle that he did, like, in the Christmas Story. Like, he's just sobbing on a pillow. And
the computer screen.
Oh, yes.
Because he's got a computer in his room in 1985 because his family can't make ends meet, but he's got a computer in his bedroom.
But he's got a computer screen. So yes,
the
screen...
bike communicating with him.
Okay, this is another power that we realize the bike has. He can basically, through the interwaves, whatever, like, send out a source to computers and be like, I am a picture of a bike. I am a picture of the telephone wires, which equal internet. And here's a picture of Mr. Hodgkins. Like,
of the bank. It's like saying...
Yeah, and it's flashing these three pictures of,
and
like...
then a picture of Mr. Hodgkins.
Internet bank.
Mr. Hodgkins' face. And then the kid's like, oh,
it did a really
wants
good...
me to go to a computer, hack into the bank as a middle schooler, and figure out how we can
figured
save
out
Mike's
that
hot dog stand.
somehow. Like, I've been like, telephone wires and a bank and... And
so his buddy, what's his buddy's name?
Bo.
Bo is in like two scenes in the movie.
Yeah, pointless.
Shows up.
Right, he's supposed to be the comedic relief. Oh, by the way, Bo, like we said, is a pervert, but also is hitting on these like two other girls throughout the movie.
Yes,
and all their scenes fall flat, where he's like hitting on them, and you're like, "You're too short."
Yes,
right.
So
meanwhile, we're describing all of these side plots because the movie cares enough about you to make sure that everybody gets wrapped up by the end, and we'll get there.
Yes. So they break into their high school or break into their middle school, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they get into the computer lab.
Right.
And then they hack. They don't show us the hacking.
They don't show us the hacking because it doesn't make any sense.
They hack into Hodgkins Bank, and first thing
I would imagine it has no security. You know?
They say...
so first, Bo checks his own account because a middle schooler has a bank account.
He's got 39 cents.
Right.
And he says, I think I had at least 50. So he changes it.
To 50.
To 50
instead
cents.
of anything substantial.
Instead of $1 billion,
right?
just 50 cents.
But then, for no reason... is like, you know what? The Widow White, which is this person we've never seen before.
But she's a widow.
Right? She's a widow because everybody calls her the Widow White. Like, that's gotta be really shitty just to walk around town
your
and
husband's
like
dead.
just at all times.
How you doing?
What up, Widow White?
Never married again.
Right?
So he puts $1 million into her bank account.
Yeah. Right? Because he's like, wouldn't it be funny if because like, the Widow White always checks her bank account every day at the bank just to make sure her money's still there. And he goes, wouldn't it be funny if she just checked it and was like, well, $1 million.
So
not a cool prank, Bo.
Let me commit this act of fraud. It's only a felony.
Right?
So he changes that, and then Jack's like, well, here's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So let me look into it.
How about you not mess around with that?
The most important plot point, which is not easily explainable.
No.
Is that...
Okay.
Mr. Hodgkins, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, I will.
Is trying to get the board of directors at the bank to foreclose on Mike's hot dog property and then buy that property for $500,000 from Hodgkins Realty.
Right.
Because Hodgkins Realty
is basically, it's like a separate entity of the company.
It's like a separate LLC. He owns the realty portion. And because they find out in that scene that Hodgkins himself only has like $1,300, that he wants to sell the piece of property to the bank for $500,000 to make himself wealthy and put the bank there.
It's not even that good of a deal. $500,000.
So that's it. Like, that's the big aha moment of the entire movie of like why all this pain is being caused to Hot Dog Mike.
Pain. Mike made his own problem.
Mike just seems like a loser. So
he lost the game.
Like, well,
he lost the stand.
Let's make a printout. Is what Jack says, because a printout
with a Scantron printer, like
complete proof. We've got the printout.
Rip off the edges.
We got blackmail. Essentially, they're blackmailing Mr. Hodgkins.
Yeah.
So the next scene is them at the grand opening.
Right. Now, Mike's at the grand opening. Maisie's at the grand. No, they're not yet.
Not the grand opening. They're at the ribbon cutting for the new building of the bank at Mike's Hot Dog.
No, they haven't arrived yet.
Right. Okay.
Right? They're basically like, let's go and stop them. They're about to do a jihad.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So Mike and Maisie are in a pickup truck with all of Mike's Hot Dog baseball players in the back of the truck, and Mike is just like, "We're gonna get them! We're gonna drive this truck right into the stand!" Like, it's insane. Like, and Maisie's just like, she is now completely infatuated with Mike for no reason. She's not even sitting on her side of the truck. She's sitting in the middle and basically like on his arm. And
she's like, "Yeah, let's go get him."
What was that weird like sexual thing that they did? Like, it got
really weird.
It got weirdly awkward and sexual out of nowhere.
So they show up at this ribbon cutting, and they're essentially protesting, like yelling out, "Save Mike's hot dog stand!"
Yeah,
and the crowd is like, "No, no!" And Mr. Hodgkins gets all pissed off, and he's like, "We're not going to let this go." And he gets the bulldozer.
Okay, how is Hodgkins in charge of all the police?
Because he pays them off. He owns all their mortgages. He holds all their mortgages.
He's ordering the chief. He's ordering everybody around in this movie, and I don't see how he doesn't.
But so there's a fight that breaks out. Mm-hmm. But how is the fight started?
Because people grab pies and
there's all these pies laying around.
There are so many pies. It is a full-on catered pie fight that happens.
One of the Hodgkins Bank Little League team members.
Yes.
I think it was the 0.05% financing kid.
11.5.
Yeah, 11.5.
Yeah.
Picks up a pie and throws it, and he hits the hot dog on front of, like the hot dog figurine on top of Mike's hot dog stand truck.
Yeah.
And then all of the kids jump out.
Oh, it is on.
His whole Little League team for the hot dog stand jumps off. And then it's just a big pie fight.
There is more pie than I've ever seen at a normal party, let alone a demolition party.
Everyone's pieing each other.
Flash sideways to what Jack's doing. Jack is trying to get across town.
Yes.
Right? And who's he running to? Big Slime.
Yes.
Now, Big Slime has a show-stopping line here, which now did you wrote it down, like, because we had some debate on what was it? I'm gonna stomp up and down on your face.
I think it was I can't wait to jump up and down on your face.
Right? And you're like that's not a phrase.
That's weird and creepy.
Right? Or how about just jump on your face? Like, what is the up and down portion of your phrase?
And why do you hate this kid? You tried stealing his bike.
This is also in a moment like when the kid gets away from him this time, he's like, "Oh God, I gotta stop this business." What business?
So him and Max, or sorry, him and Max are in the street with their bikes.
Mind you, there was something we skipped where Hodgkins overnight was like hired, was like Max, which was the kid that sold the bike, said, "Hey, go get after Jack in this bicycle. He's causing me trouble." And Jack is like, "I got people that can help me," and he knows Big Slime. So we're not sure what that relationship is, but now Max and Big Slime and all the gang are chasing them, and then this is the only thing where he was like, "I gotta stop this business." I was like, what, the bounty hunter for hire, like child harassment business?
So Jack gets to the ribbon cutting
just in time
because Mr. Hodgkins, after the pie fighting, sees, oh boy, I've got to put this bulldozer on. So he turns the bulldozer on. It starts going from Mike's hot dog stand.
And at the last moment,
Jack shows up
and goes tire to shovel, and the bike is peeling wheels and holding the bulldozer back.
And pushing the bulldozer back. It is making progress against the bulldozer. Jack goes, I'll fix Mr. Hodgkins.
Yeah, I'll get Hodgkins. Like, he's talking to the bike, and he's like, "I'll get Hodgkins. You hold the bulldozer off."
So the bike holds the bulldozer off.
And nobody's like, what is happening?
He goes over to Hodgkins to tell him that he knows about the bank thing.
Yeah.
And then somebody hits Hodgkins in the face with a pie. And then that's the end of that scene.
Well, no, okay, so the bike rams the side of the bulldozer, like it's like, oh, enough with this, I'm gonna ram the side of it, which causes the path of the bulldozer to then go into Hodgkin's limousine, which is not paid off yet because he makes a
weird side comment.
Yeah.
And it crushes the limousine.
Crushes the limousine, and then Hodgkins is like, "Oh no!" Right, and then somehow gets on the back of the bicycle.
The bike backs up like underneath of him.
Oh
And
yeah.
so he's facing backward on the bike
while Jack is on the other side.
And then they peel wheels out.
Chase ensues.
And there's a chase. And there's like a long, like,
it's
5
super
minute long chase.
And basically they have the same dialogue just re-scripted like 5 times about being like, "I'll do anything, just get me off of here." And then he's like, "Anything I will do if you will let me off of here." Like, it's the same dialogue just redone, and the same shots even. Like, and it's so stupid because it's like, just jump off.
Kid ends up on the top of a hill, says, "Okay, Mr. Hodgkins, fine." Bike stops. Ejector seat. He gets ejected.
Not before they're riding around an actual dirt bike course. Just
Yes.
for just
Well,
for
to make it
extra
bouncy. To
shits
make
and
it
giggles
bouncy
in
on
this
him.
movie.
To make it really bouncy,
Yeah.
his butt's gonna hurt.
Oh no!
Throws him into the water.
Right?
And then Hodgkins makes a comment like, "That stick's moving in the water."
Yeah.
Because he's
Get me
afraid of
out of
snakes
here.
now too.
Yeah, I guess
which you
so.
didn't know.
Yeah, he's afraid of sticks. And
It's awful. This whole movie's awful.
So after this, the movie basically, like, Hodgkins is like, "I'll do anything," like, and he's like, "Do you agree to not tear down the stand?" He's like, "Yeah, we'll come to a compromise." And I'm like, didn't you guys already agree to this, like, halfway through the movie? And then, so, the movie decides that we're gonna flash forward now, and here's why it was so important to establish all these extra characters. Because this movie says, everybody's gonna ask what happened to Big Slime, to what happened to the chief of police,
Every character.
and every single character. So, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to go down the list, right?
Okay.
And you're going to tell me,
Yep.
right? Okay, so, first off, what happened to Jack's mom?
Jack's mom doesn't get explained. She sets up the grand opening of the Mike's hot dog. She decorates everything. It's beautiful. Mike comes out. It's kind of creepy to her.
Yeah.
Like, he's hitting on her, and then he
So
makes a comment like, "You did great decorating." She's like, "Yeah, and I got like a whole bunch of new clients from doing this." And you're like, "You don't know what
so
job she
she's
has."
become an interior decorator.
That
was
or
never
she's become
established.
a professional prostitute. I don't know what it is. Then
Oh,
she's
that's
like-
right, because
he's like,
earlier in the movies, she has a late night interview.
So they're like, now she's a lady of the night. So
Okay.
he's like, "Come in and see Maisie."
Okay,
He goes
so,
inside.
Now, what has happened to Mike?
Mike has his stand
He
back.
got the hot dog stand
and they're
back,
doing
right?
a grand opening.
And they're doing very successful for a grand opening.
reopening,
Grand
yep.
reopening.
Yep.
Okay. What has happened to Maisie?
So he says,
This is
"Hey,"
my favorite one,
to
actually.
Jack's mom, "Come on inside." She comes inside to the shop to see Maisie setting up decorations, and she turns, and there's on her, she's pregnant, and on her belly is like Mike's Junior or Mike's
No,
baby.
it just says Mike's with an
Mike's.
arrow pointing down
Like,
to
to
the
make sure
stomach.
that everybody in the audience knows she didn't bang some other dude. This Mike got her pregnant in a week, and she's 6 months along. Like, this grand reopening took 6 months to plan.
Yeah, this movie shows the passage of time really well.
It's horrible.
With the pregnancy shows the entire passage of time, basically.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
So, like,
so-
somewhere in like 6 to 8 months, we're in
awful.
because she's ready to bop.
Because a hot dog stand, it takes a really long time to get back up.
Apparently. So, no. Okay. It apparently takes a really short time to get up the big reveal here.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So, okay. What has happened to Bo?
Bo, his
The fact that I'm mentioning Bo and you have an answer.
Bo shows up, walking through the front of the hot dog store outside with the two girls that he's been hitting on
Yep.
on each of his side. And
What's this thing? It says short is sweet or something.
No, it says something like "great things come in small packages" or something like that on his shirt, and you're like,
we didn't know that was an issue.
"That was what?" So that's Bo. He's got two
Okay.
girls now.
What has happened to the chief of police?
The chief of police is now the head of security
Okay.
for Hodgkins.
For Hodgkins, that's right. Now, what has happened to the bumbling police officer?
The bumbling police officer
He is now Mr. Hodgkin's chauffeur.
Is now the chauffeur. For
Right.
Mr.
So
Hodgkins.
what happened to the original chauffeur?
Well, I
then?
can tell you what happened. He was in the limo when it got crushed by the construction vehicle, and he's dead. that's
Okay, that makes sense. What has happened to
Big Slime?
Yes, what has happened to Big Slime?
Big Slime. Well, let's go
He's
back.
also
Let's-
pretty much
let me
security,
see.
right?
I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that we're leaving out. I don't think there is.
I don't think so.
But Big Slime, you see Mr. Hodgkins arrive at this grand opening.
Right.
And-
Now, what has happened to Mr.
Well,
Hodgkins?
Mr. Hodgkins had a deal with Jack
Okay.
that he would be there at the grand reopening of the hot dog stand
Mm-hmm.
wearing a hot dog costume, which is probably one of the nicest manufactured, designed hot dog costumes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he's wearing it, steps out of his limo, and he standing there, and he's really sad because he doesn't want to be in this costume. And he goes up and makes the speech to grand reopen. And then you see Big Slime walk up and say, Mr. Hodgkins, I'm really sorry that I'm late for my first day.
Yeah.
As a bank teller.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And he's wearing his earring. Mr. Hodgkins grabs his earring off of his ear
Just
and
rips
throws
it
it on the floor like it's disgusting. And you see the screen or the zoom or the camera pans out. And he built the bank right behind the hot dog stand. So it's this huge bank in 6 months that would have taken 3 years to build.
But
It comes up.
and it also doesn't make any sense that like Mike's hot dog stand is in the front entrance of the bank
There's parking for like 10 people too
Yeah.
in the parking lot.
and all parked limos instead.
And that's the movie.
Yeah, that's it. That really is it.
Wrapped up.
That's it. Oh, wait. What has happened
So at the hot
to
dog,
the bike?
at the hot dog ceremony,
Because we forgot.
they cut the ribbon, they open it up, right?
Well, prior to this.
The bike
So Jake,
loses its,
it loses its powers after
it puts Hodgkins in the water.
Yes.
It loses its powers.
He's
just
like,
turns
I
off.
guess it's just lost its powers.
But then his mom and him have a conversation like, you told me a long time ago, but not in this movie, that magic is inside of me.
Yeah.
And once I find it,
Not
no one can
this
take it away
movie.
from me. And she's like, yeah, I did tell you that.
You told me
So
long ago in Just the Kid.
The bike didn't need the magic. Or the kid didn't need or has the magic in himself.
Yeah.
And so the bike leaves. Mm-hmm. Well,
No, it doesn't
the
leave.
life of the bike leaves.
Right. And then it's just a normal bike until this moment right here. Right? And
Right.
then what happens to Mr. Miyagi?
Miyagi shows up at the hot dog opening, like appears behind the corner,
Uh-huh.
and there's a kid like, wow, what a great bike. And the guy's like,
Basically-
it just needs its own special kind of kid to ride
Right.
it. And the
And-
kid's like, okay, and he gets on it. He just steals the bike.
And it becomes alive again,
But he
and just
steals the
starts,
bike. He doesn't ask anybody for it.
Nobody was like even Jack wasn't like, hey,
You're stealing my bike.
You're stealing the bike.
No,
right.
Jack's like, hey, I don't need it anymore because I've got these really good hacking skills, and now I'm a
What if he's like,
I'm a multi-millionaire. 'cause
You
I
owe me
hacked the
$50 for that bike, son.
bike. This movie sucks.
Right? And that's the end of the movie. They literally freeze frame on the kid riding by on the bike, high-fiving Jack,
And
and that's it. So, would you recommend this movie?
No.
Not at all.
Nope.
Nope, not even just in the background.
I would say if you do listen to the show, listen to the podcast, don't even see the movie.
Well, yeah, I would definitely
It's
recommend
shorter.
this.
This is shorter than the movie.
Who, you know our W's. What if somebody had to, what would you recommend it? Like for me, I mean, it would be on it. I can't recommend this movie.
No,
like
it's
just
an awful movie.
Yeah.
There's so many better things to be watching.
Yeah.
So much better content.
Did you find any? I found some reviews that I'd like to read out loud here. Just some basically like 10-star reviews. Ready?
Yep.
This was posted back in 2000.
Yep.
Oh, actually, yeah. There was one that was labeled brilliant here. So let's get into that.
I like this one.
Yeah.
This is on Amazon.
Yeah.
This is January 27th, 2017. So almost a year now. Mm-hmm. 3 stars.
Yeah.
And it says, bought for a friend and he loves it.
Okay.
But 3 stars. Or
I'm not exactly sure. Like, I've never seen it, but he loves
this
it.
one's 2 stars. Title, it's okay. And then the comment is, okay, not the best.
Do you have any 4 or 5 stars or anything?
5 star.
Okay.
Big kid happy. Took me back to childhood. This was October 26, 2016.
I got one. Here it is. Brilliant! I recently saw the movie on the Disney Channel, and I thought it was magnificent. After seeing this movie, I think there should be a flying bike in all of the movies. I give it 40 stars out of 40 stars. One of my most favorite movies of all time. Anyone who likes this one should see Cop and a Half and Problem Child 1 and 2.
Oh, no.
So they just live in a world.
They watch horrible movies? This one, April 1st, 2016.
Yeah.
Great family film from the 80s. 1985, great comedy family film. Peter Billingsley, in parentheses, plays the character as Jack in this funny comedy. A lot of good lessons for kids in this story. An awesome find on Blu-ray. What lessons?
It was on Blu-ray?
What lessons?
Well, the lessons of basically you gotta play by the system and make sure if you're gonna hack that you know exactly what you're doing and you're an A student, not a D student.
Yeah, learn how to hack a bank and you'll be fine.
So I got one more here. Ready? The greatest movie ever. Man, I can't get enough of this movie. It's genius! A flying bike? Who came up with this brilliant idea? I've seen this movie 10 times, and I think it gets better with every viewing. Check it out today. 10 times.
You know who wrote that? Peter Billingsley. It's Dad.
Bo. Dad. Loved it. Well, that's another thing. Like, there was actual parents who had their child as a child star in this movie who had to sit through this movie.
In 1985, though, it's a different time.
Yeah.
People loved it, but it's gonna be 2018.
Yeah.
Don't watch this movie.
Yeah. No, don't.
Don't watch it unless you literally have nothing else to do, and if that's the case, go walk outside.
Yeah.
Just do something with your life.
Wait. I did find another 10.
Okay.
I did. Okay, last one, I swear. Okay. 10 out of 10 stars. One of the best movies of the 80s. Don't listen to the above, which means he read the other ones. It was like,
Oh, boy.
This is one of the best pre-teen teenage movies of the mid-'80s. Oh, pre-teen teenage movies?
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Keep reading.
So, while watching this movie today as an adult, you see the flaws. But as a kid, this movie has it all. So, he's basically saying, it's actually bad, but as a kid, I thought it was good, right? The kid who serves as the hero, the evil bank villain, the baseball team, the hot mom. What? She was a Goldie Hawn ripoff at best. If you want to escape life for 2 hours, this is an hour and a half movie. This is one of your best bets to do so. Great time for kids and adults alike. Peter Billingsley and his motorcycle are one of the best duos of all time. Watch this movie. Save Mike's doghouse.
Yeah. Don't.
No. Let that go up in flames. Yep, that just about does it for here at Bombs Away. I'd like to thank my guest today, Jordan Hadfield. I really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, it was a pain to watch this movie. So thanks.
Well, yep.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for putting your entire family through this. It was a test.
They no longer love me.
Nope. Just want to make sure that everybody knows that if this is your first time listening, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Bombs Away Show. You can also write us. We always love to comment and read out what you guys thought, and you can send those personal emails, contact@bombsawayshow.com. And if this is your first time, please make sure that you write a review, subscribe. Rate, review, and subscribe is always the most important things we can put out there. Jordan, you have anything to promote?
Team Jarrett.
Team
John.
Jarrett. Yeah. Wait. Are we? Is there a?
It's like
a split now.
Team Jarrett. That's
Yeah.
who I'm for.
Oh man.
Because I'm like, I
It's
feel
a
like I'm
rivalry.
sitting in his chair.
Yeah.
I'm just keeping it warm for him. That's all I'm doing.
Nice. Okay. Yes, Jared will be back next week. Ladies and gentlemen, for Bombs Away, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Jarrett Standen. Jordan.
And I got... Is there a phrase for this movie?
It is like they say, the more ounce, the more bounce.
Hey guys, John here from the Bonds Away podcast, and I'm here to talk to you about the place where we record. That's right, the Frida Cinema. What is the Frida Cinema? Well, it's a program of the Long Beach Cinematheque here in California, and it serves Santa Ana and neighboring communities as a non-profit art house cinema dedicated to enriching, connecting, and educating communities through the art of cinema. But it's so much more than that. Guys, not only do they screen amazing films here, but they also hold out-of-this-world special events. And when we're talking about special events, we're talking about shadow casting. Shadow casting, if you don't know, is where actors perform in front of the movie that you're seeing, and they have costumes, and they're doing audience participation, and it is just an amazing event. The shadow casting that we do here is films such as Rocky Horror, or Little Shop of Horrors, or Repo the Genetic Opera, or even The Forbidden Zone. Wow, The Forbidden Zone. Like, when's the last time you saw that? Or maybe shadow casting isn't your thing, but what about rooftop cinemas? That's right. Right on our rooftop, we do special screenings of throwback movies that you love, including Ghostbusters, or the current Beauty and the Beast, Guardians of the Galaxy, or even Jurassic Park. And that's not the only thing with these rooftop cinemas. They also have special people that show up, special guests, including the Orange County Ghostbusters and their vehicles and their costumes, or maybe Jurassic Park and the Jurassic Park Jeep. You ever gotten a photo with any of these things? I have, and it's because I was there at these events. So if you're looking for special events to go to, or like out of this world, just crazy audience participation things like Scott Pilgrim and with lights and sound and like things that you've never even seen before, go to the Frida Cinema. You can check out the Frida Cinema locations, filming, schedules, and everything entertainment-wise at www.thefridacinema.org. Or you can follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/thefridacinema, and on Instagram and Twitter at the Frida Cinema. The Frida Cinema, for the filmmakers, for the film goers, and for you.
This has been a production of Big Bulb Entertainment, executive produced by Jonathan Young. For more media and information, visit us at www.bigbulbentertainment.com. Big Bulb, what's your bright idea?